Yeah, we lived through an iconic moment in pop culture, which was the double feature of Barbie and Oppenheimer, now known as Barbenheimer. And we already know that Hollywood is desperate, but it seems that in this upcoming Thanksgiving box office, they are desperate to recreate the Barbenheimer moment. And it's not going to happen.
You can't.
Barbenheimer, it happens once and only ever going to happen once. And
Well,
what they're trying to do...
I don't know about that, but it's not something that can be manufactured.
Well, that's what they're doing right now with Wicked, the musical, the 3-hour-long musical.
Yeah.
And Gladiator 2, which is a sequel for Gladiator, which came out 25 years ago.
Yeah. Well,
so,
20 years ago. 2004, right?
Was it?
Yeah, 2004, I think.
Yeah. So that's their idea of a Barbenheimer 2.0 is Glicked or
Wicdiator.
Wicdiator?
They're both bad.
That just doesn't sound appealing at all.
Yeah.
And the whole appeal, right, of Barbie and Oppenheimer is that you go as a couple and both the guy and the girl get to see
what they want to see.
Their bread and butter at the movie theater. Wicked is for theater kids. And it's literally the definition of for the girls and the gays, but for theater kids.
The problem is that none of the theater kids have like girlfriends.
No.
Yeah.
No, they don't.
So they got to go by themselves.
Right.
That's a problem.
And they're all going to be like singing in the theater obnoxiously.
Oh yeah, like that was what everybody was saying. It's like you're not going to be able to hear any of the music anyways.
I can't.
So guys,
I will feel violent feelings.
I'm not even kidding you guys. Mary's like, we need to go review it. And I'm like, I got an appointment that day. I don't know what day it is, but I have an appointment.
Oh yeah, like I have a surgery.
I've got to go to the doctor. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm getting my wisdom teeth removed.
Yeah, like I'm literally just gonna like whatever day you pick. I'm like, that's the day this is happening.
Yeah.
Look, you can't manufacture that type of natural mimetic appeal. I just want to point this out to you. So if you go and I looked up Glicked. I was hoping that nothing bad would come up on the screen. I don't know.
It sounds untoward.
But so some like badly made memes have attempted to be made, like this one. Let's get a window.
Oh, okay.
So you can see that, like, so they're trying to make it a thing, right?
It's not a thing.
Now here's the thing.
It's not a thing.
What would you rather look at? That, or would you rather look at
a mushroom cloud with Barbie sitting on top of it?
This is far more interesting, let's face it.
Yes.
You can't manufacture this kind of... And the other thing is, like, theater kids is not the same thing as the entirety of the female gender, which was really, really drawn to going to see Barbie. When we went, I don't know if you remember, but there was like a yard sale going on at the theater selling knockoff Barbie merch.
Right, yeah.
There was like vendors there.
I mean, there have been too many examples of Broadway musicals getting adapted into films and then flopping for this to be a guaranteed success.
Correct.
West Side Story, wasn't that Steven Spielberg?
2021, yeah.
Rachel Zegler.
Flopped very, very badly.
Yep. There was another In the Heights film adaptation as well.
Okay, so what's really funny is we were driving like an hour away one day, and I just started reading about Lin-Manuel Miranda, and he's actually kind of a really fascinating dude.
Oh, he's a menace.
But he's a fascinating dude. Like I was reading on how he came up with Hamilton. Like he was reading a book on vacation about Alexander Hamilton and came up with the idea for it. But he's also one of those, like his wife went to MIT or something like that. And it's kind of really, really fascinating. But the stage play for In the Heights was very, very popular. But you could make the argument that for both, now I'm not saying this is true. I'm saying you could make the argument that for both In the Heights and West Side Story, it was like early 2021 after COVID, and they weren't going to do the numbers. Like people might.
They also listed Cats. That was before COVID.
That doesn't even need to be mentioned because everyone knows why that movie failed. It was nightmare fuel. But
Dear Evan Hansen, flop. The Color Purple, flop.
The point is, though, is that a couple of those, like there are ones that do fairly well, right? Like some of them draw people out, and a Thanksgiving slot for this film is probably the best that they can hope for.
Well, one of these industry insiders Variety interviewed here said the industry is looking at Wicked, Gladiator 2, and Moana 2 as a holy trinity of movie-going. it's hard to recall a Thanksgiving lineup with this much potential because there's something for everyone, they say. Wicked, that's for chicks. Gladiator 2, that's for dudes, and Moana 2, that's for kids.
Well, people were saying that people are going to bring their kids to see Wicked. I was like, what kid wants to sit through a 2-hour and 40-minute musical?
Right. And they don't know what Wicked is.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they don't know what Wicked is.
Moana's the weekend after.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, it's the next weekend.
Wicked is coming out alongside Gladiator November 22nd.
Look, I want to go see. I've been watching, since we weren't planning to review it, I've been watching the reviews for Gladiator, and most of them, at least the ones that I've watched, have been pretty fair, saying like, look, it's not as good as the original, but it's still fun to go and see, and that Denzel plays a really great villain in the film, and I love Denzel Washington, so that might be a reason enough for me to go see it. Plus, I was reading an article today, he's got like 2 or 3 more projects that he wants to do, and then he wants to retire. I mean, he's getting up there in age anyways, so there aren't going to be a whole lot of chances to go see a new Denzel Washington movie at the theater for the first time.
I would have never thought of it like that. But
it depends. Like, is there like a performer or something that you really, really like, where if they were like, I'm going to retire?
No.
It's just me. It's like whenever a celebrity dies, I'm like, oh, that's kind of sad. Mary's like,
maybe
is it though?
No, if a band I really liked were on a farewell tour before breaking up, I think I would go to that.
But the problem is
that's much different.
Nobody takes band farewell tours seriously.
They always think it's like gonna get an encore tour.
Nobody ever actually believes that the band
they meant it.
Like the Rolling Stones went on like 90 farewell tours.
But that's different because a movie is a movie and you can watch it anytime.
What I'm saying is like
it's the theater experience.
It's the theater experience for the first time to see that movie again, right?
Yeah.
That would be like me. John Durham in the chat says Jeremy Johns called it entertaining. He did a really funny review where he says he kept like reiterating the phrase and talking about reiterating the phrase. It's got big shoes to fill. Because it does, and it's very hard to match what they pulled off with the 2004 Gladiator. But I probably will go see it on the weekend because there aren't going to be a whole lot of other chances to do that for Denzel Washington, who's, as a lot of people know...
how old is he?
He's getting up there now. He's got to be in his 70s by now.
Okay. I didn't know that. He doesn't look like he's that old. We have another 20 from VWit. I was a theater kid in the 90s, and Wicked and Rent were the biggest hit on stage. I was also a band geek, but that has no play here. But in the late 90s, those two best liked amongst my gay friends also put a girl on.
Oh, well, we have a girl on today.
We have a girl
As a matter of fact, we've got a girl on.
I don't know. I guess it's just a very insular theater kid culture that I will never understand. They just fangirl and fanboy over these things, and I will... things I've just never heard of can be so relevant to this very small portion of the population, and that's why I feel like Wicked is not going to do as well as they want it to.
Well, look, it's projected to make $80 million. Its opening weekend, and Gladiator is projected to make about $50 million.
Because the marketing for it has been absolutely insane. They're like printing entire...
There's whole porn. The porn website that got put on the back of the box hit a 12-year high of traffic after that debacle.
Crazy.
And I was like, don't worry, it probably wasn't kids clicking on it. It was all of the articles written about, you know, like, I still don't know if I buy that there's ever been like somebody in the world that's like looked on the back of a toy box and was like, a website.
I wonder what I'll find there. Yeah, no.
I don't think that happens. Look, you can't manufacture this type of success. Hollywood will try. We talk about this all the time. Every time a movie does well, they try to they're talking about making Top Gun 3. And I think that's a horrible idea. As much as
Tom Cruise is not dumb enough to agree to that.
No, I think they're already working on a script. And to be fair, Christopher McQuarrie and him do great work together, but it's the type of thing where it doesn't need to be made, right? I don't know if they need to do that. But Hollywood is a capitalist industry, and when you make a ton of money doing something, the idea is to then reinvest that money and try to capitalize on that same idea again. They very rarely, if ever, leave well enough alone when something is successful.
It's a lab mouse hitting the lever for cheese over and over again.
But I mean, look at what they did with Joker, right? They're like, look, this movie cost $50 million. Holy crap, it made $1 billion. You know what we should do? We should spend like triple the budget and make a movie that nobody wants.
About what?
Exactly.
Hot Wheels.
Yes, that's what they should do.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.